what's going on? You are tuned into another Black History Month in esports on the Long Island Gaming League, our IG Live. We are doing this to celebrate the history of esports as well as those who are currently doing a lot of moves in the esports industry. So I want to thank you. We're going to jump right into it. I will not speak anymore, but I want to introduce our guest, REDinFAMY. Hopefully, I said that correctly. You know, you might have a
Red
little
infamy. Red
Red Infamy.
infamy.
There we go. I was just like, I know I'm probably butchering it, but
Like the day of infamy. Red infamy. That's
Red
like
Infamy. I
it's
got it
cool. I go
down.
through it all the time. It's cool.
All right, all right. Well, listen, I want to give you the floor to introduce yourself to everybody who's going to be tuning in.
Sure. Tamika Moultrie is my name, the government. But professionally and in these gaming and geek streets, I go by Red Infamy. Um, been a gamer since I was little, like the age of 3. My parents actually got me into gaming. As far as like on a professional side and how gaming has transformed from being into it as a kid and still continuing it as an adult. I just always had an affinity with video games. It's always been around me. It's been in my family. So it was always around. I've been a gaming journalist in the sector, also including with esports, for a decade plus now. So still holding it strong, still up with it. And I cover everything from, of course, esports. You know, this is why we're here, to various things in geek culture and gaming culture. And one of the core strides and advocate period is just making sure our people, as far as Black, Native, and Hispanics, are in STEAM, are in video games, and actually have a voice. A lot of times, our voices are snuffed and we're marginalized, even though we're the number one consumers in this sector. Yet you don't see too much, many of us, as the face of it. So, my platform, I love to just make sure that all of that is being exposed, you know, that we do create video games, that we are at the face or the forefront or in behind the scenes creating things, voice actors, actresses, mocap directors, mocap specialists and everything, or your pro athletes, or someone like myself that gets a chance to ask questions and, you know, dive into the minds of developers and creators. So, yeah, it's a bit about myself. And I also founded Geek Game Type, which explores all of that. I also am the host, one of the hosts of Dames for Games, which explores and celebrating women in video games as well. So it's been about, you know, the elevator pitch of myself.
Yeah,
Right.
there you got it down, Pat. That was smooth. It flowed. It was very informative. So thank you so much for that. Because I mean, just that minute right there, I was like, man, she's doing her thing right now. I was like,
I appreciate it.
so kudos to you. Kudos to you. I mean, so I know you kind of went into kind of how you got started very early on, but is there anybody, if you can say, or an individual who kind of was like a role model to you or really kind of influenced you? I know you've done so much, but is there someone in particular that, like, you know, clicked that light bulb and really drove you down this path?
Um, I mean, who got me into video games and when I thought it was interesting,
Mhm.
like I mentioned, was my parents. You know, seeing my
Right.
father play
Okay.
something on TV that I'm like, oh, he's interacting like as a kid, you're visualizing like it's a cartoon, but you
Right.
see like he's moving these characters. So I'm like, I want to be down. I want to do everything that my father did.
Mhm.
So from basketball to video games to anime, like he's one of the forefronts on why I'm into a lot of things that I'm into, including my grandmother too. She's a big nerd. She's a Trekkie and everything. But like I said, those things been around me. So people in my family, even including my mom, she got me into Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
These
Okay.
people gave me the passion to want to be in the whole realm of gaming, something that's an interactive art. As far as being a journalist, I would have never thought I was going to be a journalist in this field at all. As
Right.
a kid, I wanted to be a scientist. I wanted to play around with chemicals and everything. That then led into computers. I love computers and technology. And then marketing. I actually have a degree in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I graduated from college, it was during a recession. This was in '09. And one of the things was, during that time, it's very depressing. I'm like, I did all of this stuff in college and I can't find a job. So during that time, podcast was popping up and then social media was booming even more in its beginnings, like Twitter and everything. And I would just express myself, and forums always been a thing. Before there was Twitter, y'all, there was forums and threads and things like that. So I would just involve myself in certain video game forums. And when Twitter came along, I was like, oh, this is a short form piece where it's quick and you could do something daily by the hour, by the minute, by the second. It's not like you're creating a new thread for somebody or a new post. And I was like, wow, with podcasts and people talking about PlayStation 3 versus Xbox 360. I was like, okay, I see other people that's passionate. And
Mm-hmm.
then YouTube was growing as well. So I got to see people that look like me, that's not in my neighborhood or not from where I'm from, actually have a passion and see other women play video games. And I'm like, yo, I want to talk about this stuff. And Twitter was one of those platforms where I was able to do that. And that's actually where I got discovered to actually
Wow.
professionally write. Uh, so an editor, I always shout him out. He always like, okay, he always get like blush or whatever. But
It's coming again.
yeah, Anselm Rock, shouts out to Anselm. He's one of the most pivotal people to have like given me that push into my career and to do it professionally and get paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just talking about video games on Twitter, and he sent a tweet saying, shouts out to REDinFAMY. She's a dope Black woman that loves video games and know what she's talking about. So I was like, I just thought somebody was just showing me love. And then I think like the next week or a couple of days after, he slid in my DMs and was like, hey, how would you like to write for Black Enterprise with video games? And I was like,
Wow.
what? Like,
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
hell yeah. Yeah, I was like, yeah. And I always I love talking about this
Mm-hmm.
because he did not ask me for any writing pieces at all. Like, I guess he just seen I was like, during that time, I was just 140 or 150 characters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since you got a check mark, you can just write a whole dissertation on Twitter now. But I guess I was able to articulate myself and convey my thoughts in a manner that people can actually attach to, and in that short form.
Right.
And that's how I got into writing.
Mm-hmm.
As far as to dive deep into to stick on your question on
Yeah.
who,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
professionally, Jamil Hill, like, I love how she does journalism, in sports. Sometimes I get compared to her, which I'm like, I love that. She has that fiery spirit. She never backs down, and
Right.
especially being in something that could be quote unquote male dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I grew up around, most of my cousins are guys, so I was the only little girl a lot of times. So I had to be a little ruffian. So
Show
um,
was talking about. I got you.
yeah, yeah, getting picked on. I have to have a clap back. I'm from New York, like, from NYC. You gotta, in Queens at that. I'm from Queens. You have to always have a comeback. So I just love how her strength is, even being in sports, that she always stuck to her convictions on how she felt, where she stand on a topic, and I'm that way too in this field.
Right. Right. Right.